So, I've I guess I'll go introduce myself. If you haven't come across this channel, I tend to just like post random clips and edits of what has been going on in my streams as a side hobby. You know, it's just something I like to dabble in and every once in a while whenever I get the chance. Um, but as the title that I'm going to put for this video suggests, today, no, it's a day to reflect. Apart from it being September 11th, which for my generation, I guess for millennials, it was the moment that really impacted how we see the rest of the world, because everything changed for us after the 9/11 attacks. But now, 24 years later, I always look at that day as, and mind you, I was like 5 years old when it happened, and I still remember vividly being in class that day and the TVs turning on and seeing the first twin tower up in smoke after it got hit, and then seeing the second one getting hit live on TV. My 5-year-old brain couldn't comprehend what the hell I was watching. I thought I was watching a movie. It was just so surreal, and to the point that they started sending everyone home from school early because of the threats that apparently there were more planned attacks to happen in all the major cities in the country. But to get back to my earlier point, after the towers collapsed and information where it was coming out of who was responsible for these attacks, that was the only time that I can remember in my lifetime that the whole country unified under one goal, which was to get Osama bin Laden. We all had shared patriotism, and we were all on the same page of what was the goal and that we wanted to get there for sure. And sadly enough, the government screwed that up. They botched that whole sensation that we had and ended up dividing the country by pretty much destabilizing the Middle East. And instead of going for what we thought was the main enemy or the main reason why we went to the Middle East, we ended up just going to Iraq, to Afghanistan, and just opened up a whole can of worms there. Pretty much just losing focus of the reason why we went there in the first place. And 24 years later, it just seems like the whole world, well, not the whole world, mainly here in the US, we have gone a complete 180. We have not had a single moment where we all rejoiced and, you know, behaved as a collective, or, you know, as brethren. It seems that we have allowed the vocal minority to split us up and divide us across all spaces of media nowadays. Social media, mainstream news media. Things have gone along. Shit, dude, I just lost my train of thought. It's hard to articulate in front of a camera while I spent the whole night thinking of what I wanted to say, reflecting of what has happened these last 24 hours, or not even, it's not even a complete day yet. But I'm getting to the main point of where I wanted to get. We're at a crossroads right now where people are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, while the rest of us who have a good head screwed on our shoulders are mourning a death of a patriot. Now, mind you, I'm 29 years old, so the age gap between me and Charlie are like not that far. What, he's like a three. It's like a 3-year difference in there, and to see how much he has accomplished in such a little time, and then to just be taken away from us like that in the most brutal way possible, and to see people celebrate. And it is really hard to not label or put labels on these people and start pointing fingers and calling them left wing or progressive or liberal, Democrats. It's hard not to point fingers, and I'm gonna try my best not to assume or infer towards that direction, but how the media has been completely biased towards one direction these last couple of, I want to say this especially the way I have come to realize this last decade. They've been the mainstream media has been pushing a pretty terrible rhetoric towards people who have a shred of conservative ideology in them, or at least who begins to show some sort of conservatism when it comes to their actions or their words. And it's safe to say that we have people who are willing to believe these exaggerated lies, or to this point just straight up lies about people like Charlie Kirk or like Donald Trump, and they just drink the Kool-Aid and they think they're doing something for the greater good by trying to take out these people in cold blood. Before I get into like the assassinations and what's been going on and what's pushing an average guy like me who, dude, I just got out of work. Like, I just got back from work. I only had 3 hours of sleep due to recent events. I couldn't fall asleep. It was just it was too devastating. Why do I feel compelled to just post a video and just put everything off my chest and put it out there? Maybe someone might come along and hear it and kind of relate. Because I do like to think of myself as kind of like the average person. I don't come from money at all. Like I said, I just came back from work, and I mean, look how I'm dressed. Mind you, got rid of my uniform, trying to conceal where I work. But I try to do the most basic shit to get along in life. I don't bother anyone. I do hang out with friends, go to work, put in the hours, and try to dedicate to the simple things in life. I guess it's trying to be as much average as I can describe myself as. And hopefully someone comes across this video and sees and kind of shares the same positions, or the same, at least, sentiment. I've been a left-leaning teenager during my high school years, that was for sure. I drank the Kool-Aid. I believed everything that was happening in the news. I mean, obviously, I do believe like the events that happened, but I was believing like that the Democrats were always the good people. Then they can't do any wrong, and you know, Obama was the best thing to happen since sliced bread, and I never really even questioned why. And I believed everything was swell until the day that 10 years ago Trump announced his candidacy, and I believed everything the media told me about him, that he's racist and he is gonna pretty much be the next Hitler because he's gonna kick out illegals, and that means branding all Mexicans as illegals and all Hispanics as illegals, and you know, your friends are next and your neighbors, and you know, say goodbye to abuelita and all that shit. And you know, I believed it. I was mad. I mean, Facebook still reminds me to this day about some of the posts I made during that time period when he announced his candidacy for the first time and during his first term. Like I shared that same false rage that everybody still has to this day. That I partook in the Trump derangement syndrome, and that all changed once the pandemic happened, and Charlie Kirk's videos started to pop up in my YouTube algorithm, and Ben Shapiro, and for people who now are, that I come to realize are conservative or right-wing leaning people. And that did not change my viewpoint, but I started to understand their viewpoints, but it wasn't like enough to completely like have me ditch the Democrats as a preferable party. But then one of my best friends pretty much opened up my eyes by showing me all of Trump's like press conferences during his first term, and all his achievements from his first term, and how the Russia collusion conspiracy was just a hoax the whole time, and seeing how the news media outlets have pretty much been lying to our faces with no remorse. That opened up my eyes. And then seeing how COVID was being treated as this world-ending event, when really it wasn't, and they were just telling us 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It just, yeah, it made me realize I've been a fool. I've been played a fool this whole time. And some people started to snap out of it too. Obviously, I mean, look at the results of the previous election, or well, this past election. I mean, it's obvious people woke up and realized that we've been fooled. But then there's some people that just are ignorant to the facts. They clench to that identity of being just against Republicans because they still believe in the old wife's tale of, oh, Republican bad, they're just rich people and they don't understand us working folk. While ever since the Biden administration, I've seen the complete opposite. Democrats have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea how to relate to us. They allowed millions of illegals to come in through the border, gave them essentially flash passes for them to stay in this country while there's still people waiting to get their papers. I mean, I have relatives that applied time and time again just to get a visa to come over here, and yet they get denied, and they still have to spend thousands of dollars just to put in a petition. But then you have these people just come and walk in through the border during the Biden administration, and they got to stay. They got assisted housing. They got food stamps. They got medical insurance. You know, they got the works. They had the whole package. So slowly through all that, it opened up my eyes, and I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed by the people who I held to a high esteem, thinking that these people were the ones to lead this country forward and to take us towards the right direction. They were pushing us towards the edge of obscurity. They were taking us to our downfall. And then going back to the conservative influencers that I started seeing on YouTube and social media, Charlie Kirk was one of the first that popped up during the end of 2019 and into the pandemic. And the video that got my attention was when he was debating Hassan Piker. I don't even want to open that can of worms in this video, but seeing Hassan Piker decked out in his suit, looking all fancy, and talking trash about capitalism and how it doesn't work, even though he's literally like dripped in it. And then, you know, Cenk Uyghur, his uncle, starting to like throw insults at Charlie Kirk, and that was, I feel it's like the only time you ever see Charlie just go with rage and passion mixing together. I never seen him angry after that video came out of him going back and forth with Cenk, having that screaming match between each other. But when I saw that, and I saw, like, you know, he was still giving out clean points about like how capitalism is the reason that it pretty much elevated a good chunk of the population out of poverty. It evens the playing field. It caught my attention. And then, you know, throughout the years when he started doing the college campuses tours, and doing all these public debates, pretty much his own spin on Steven Crowder's Change My Mind segment. They started to catch traction. His popularity started going up and up, and there has not been a single instance where I kind of disagreed or even flat out disagree with any of his opinions, because so far everything that he kept saying, it didn't come from a place of malice. It wasn't out saying like, you know, if you're completely wrong, but with no backup. How I've come across a lot of supposed left leaning people on Facebook and social media in general. They are quick to just tell you that you're wrong without backing it up, and then when you ask them to back it up, they'll just continue to use the same word, call you a fascist. Which, that word has gotten so overused to the point that it's like, okay, calm down here, little Einstein. Just because you just found out that the word exists, and they use that to call people that supposedly are bad, which they aren't. It's just, you know, you're just misusing the word. Like, I've been called a fascist so many times at this point. It's comical, because you're calling me something that I'm not, or not even remotely close, but you think it's your ticket to win the argument that we're having, or a mini discussion that we're having, and it just makes you seem like a little kid. Like when kids are having back and forth, and then the one kid who pretty much ran out his bag of tricks just calls the other kid a booger face or a doo-doo head because they can't curse, and they think that, oh, I just won, you know. That's it, I'm the winner here. Nah. But a lot of people who share those left-leaning ideologies that I've come across, that's pretty much has been like the common behavior. It does get annoying. It does boil my blood at times, but I never resort to insults. Why would I, if Charlie never did? And I'd say I'm an avid fan. I'll catch his podcasts every now and then. I'll catch his special appearances in other people's podcasts. It's always a pleasure to see him guest appear, because he always brings that extra flavor and energy to these podcasts that normally they don't have. But it's awesome to just see him always pop up and preach the good word, and not say anything vulgar about the opposing sides. Even if he's in a conservative podcast, he's not out there talking shit. It's a admirable quality. And yesterday, since I have night shift this week, I decided to sleep on time around 12 p.m. so I can get a good solid 8 hours of sleep before going to work. Oddly enough, I woke up at 3 p.m. September 10th, 2025. And my first instinct, I mean, like anybody nowadays, grab my phone, check social media, and when I logged into Instagram, or when I launched the Instagram app, I saw one of my friends. I checked out one of my friend's stories, and in her story, it pretty much was a headline that Charlie Kirk got shot over in Utah, and that started to awake my discombobulated mind after waking up for no fucking reason, and it shocked me. But this was at the moment still that his death was not confirmed. But then the very next piece of content that I saw relating to the shooting at the University of Utah, was the up close video of Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck, and seeing all that blood gushing, that completely broke my heart. 99% of me already came to terms in that split second of me seeing his jugular just rupture and seeing all that blood. I already came to terms with the fact that, yeah, he's gone. Seeing his body curled up and all that blood just spilling, and him just losing consciousness almost immediately, which is a blessing in disguise, because I mean, I wouldn't want anyone to suffer and be awake during that whole injury. It's really it's a devastating thing to go through. I mean, it's already bad enough to see it happen. I mean, it's to go through it. It's disgusting. It's horrendous. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I mean, unless it's like Osama bin Laden, then yeah, but not to an innocent guy like that. But that 1% of my brain was like, maybe, he could still make it, because it has not been confirmed that he passed away, but literally like within the first 5 minutes of all that happening, since me waking up and seeing all this events unfold, it was confirmed that he passed away. And even to this day, even just saying those words, I'm in disbelief, because not only the First Amendment was figuratively and literally attacked, we lost a really good example of what it means to be American, to be a patriot, to love this country, and to have the best interests of people at heart. You may not agree with his point of views 100%, 50%, or 99%, any percent, but having the guy killed in cold blood wouldn't stop anybody else from having the same point of views he did. It's not going to stop me from embracing my core values and beliefs. It's not going to stop probably the next person from believing that having old school American values is the way to go. But all in all, the First Amendment really took a really big hit yesterday. And to tie this up with 9/11, and not with the severity of the attack. I mean, both are gruesome in their own ways. I mean, in 9/11 we had like what 64,000 innocents gone in an instant. For what though? For what? Just because another country, how do I phrase this? Just because a group of savages over in the Middle East believe that we deserve it, that innocent people deserve it, people who have nothing to do with war or conflict, or people who haven't even like punched a person ever in their lives, they decide to just leave a message like that and just take nothing but innocence, which is just a coward's way of behaving towards an enemy. You attacking defenseless people to prove what? That your biggest strength is just attacking innocent people and not going against people your own size or people you deem are your size. Same thing with what happened with Charlie Kirk. The only sin that in the eyes of the people who are cheering his death is having a different opinion than them. So that means it's okay to attack a defenseless innocent man for his point of views. Either way, when I see those responses, I try to separate political beliefs with what they're saying. Because the last thing we need is having conservatives start demonizing the other side. But you also have the argument of, they've been doing this to the right, towards the right, this whole time as well, and nobody bats an eye. True. Both sides of that argument is true. But the fact is, regardless of political views, the important thing right now is to decide where we're going to go from here. We have an opportunity at being at a crossroads like we did 24 years ago in 9/11, where the people, us the Americans, decided to come together against a common enemy, only to have the government botch it up. This time, we have an administration that's willing to uphold justice and peace. But then the problem this time around is the people who just won't entertain the idea of maybe I'm wrong and maybe, maybe I should listen to what the majority of the country thinks. There's a reason why we don't see that people from that side of the aisle protest, block roads, harass people. Maybe they got it right. But no. It's always that vocal minority that starts calling for harassment, people's deaths, politicians' deaths, looting, riots, doxing people. It's hard to talk about these situations without pointing fingers at which side. Because it's not really much about the political side, it's much more about the individuals that take it that far. I don't have problems with people who lean left or lean right. But when they take it to the extreme and it becomes their bread and butter for no fucking reason, or becomes their reason of living, it becomes their identity, who they are, and it's like they're on a crusade to impose it on any living being on this planet, so they could bring their false idea of a utopia upon us. People like that are the true fascists. The moment they see a minor inconvenience to their own opinions, the first thought that comes into their mind is, get rid of them. While the first thought should always be, let's hash it out, talk. Not resort to eradication, re-education. Yeah, this is not what I thought America would have been 24 years after 9/11. At least I had the privilege to see see the moment of us all coming together, even though it was short-lived. But now, like I mentioned, we're at a point where we could have that moment again. But us, the people, as a whole, we're all just fucking it up. The best place to meet isn't right in the middle. Not right, not left, but a common ground in the middle. Perfect balance, as all things should be. And yes, I quoted Thanos. It's a good quote. God damn. But it's hard to keep a positive outlook, especially having so much blood being shed this month. The Ukrainian refugee that was taken away too early, the school shooting over in Colorado, as well as Charlie Kirk getting assassinated. We should all take time to just reflect who we are, where we want to go, who we want to be, and how to get there. Life is just too short to start hating on everybody just because they don't like the same things you do. We're not meant to be clones of each other. We're meant to get along despite our differences. If I can do that, being just the run of the mill average guy who has friends that are both right leaning and left leaning, and I get along with them really well, then anybody can. It's just a matter of, are you willing to let your ego aside? Are you willing to look the other way and realize, maybe both sides of the same coin are not that bad. Maybe the grass is greener on both this lawn and in the other side. I hope today it's a day that everyone reflects, thinks before they act, and start to see everyone as equals. We share this planet. We share this country. Let's not ruin it by killing each other off out of inconvenience. Alright, I guess that's it. Or else I'm going to be rambling for like 2 hours. Alright, God bless everyone.